Yes, the queen of inconsistency has returned. So, I bring to you, in mid-March, my February wrap-up. In February, I read 4 books with an average star rating of 4.25. Needless to say, I liked what I read. This is definitely a part of my desire to only read what I want to read when I want to read it. So, hence my star ratings are pretty high, because if I don't like something, I'm probably going to stop it and put it off till later. This is a trend, guys. The first book that I read in February was Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. This is the second book in the Villains, I believe it's just a duology, but the series started with Vicious, which is one of my favorite books Schwab has ever written. And I really liked Vengeful. I thought it was, while not a necessary sequel, certainly a very interesting one. It explored further ideas of these EOs, these extraordinaries. And I think that, like, when Schwab is writing fiction like this, it's just so damn good. It's so damn good. And Victor Vale is, oh, I love him. The second book that I read in February was The Rite, The Making of a Modern Exorcist by Matt Bailio. So this was a part of a thing in February. I got real into that topic. If I've never mentioned it on this channel, and I can't remember if I have, I was raised Roman Catholic. While I no longer practice, I do still wear this, but for sentimental reasons. So I grew up with a very healthy fear and respect for the paranormal, the supernatural, the angelic, and the demonic. So honestly, the subject of, like, demons and possession and shit fucking terrifies me. Like, I don't want to fuck with that shit. And yet I love horror movies that do it. And there is a film that came out, I want to say it was the late 2000s, maybe the very early 2010s. I could be very wrong. Entitled The Rite, which stars Sir Anthony Hopkins, who's amazing, and then also a pre-Once Upon a Time fame, Colin O'Donoghue. And the movie took inspiration from this book, and I really like that movie. Flawed as it is, it's very atmospheric. Sir Anthony Hopkins is amazing, and it's a good possession movie. And reading this book, I was never reading it in the dark. I was reading it in the middle of the day in full daylight. Like, I wanted light. And, like, I wanted it at work when I was surrounded by people. I couldn't read it alone. It was too creepy. I read Spark Joy, an illustrated masterclass on the art of organizing and tidying up by Marie Kondo. Yes, I read another Marie Kondo book. I really liked this one because it had pictures and taught me how to fold things, and I found that I still kind of like my method of folding just because it works for me, but, like, I liked it. I actually bought it and, like, have the hard copy so that I can look at the folding, really for things like sweatshirts and, like, big bulky things. And I was like, I don't know how to store this properly because, like, I need to know how to store this. And finally, the last book that I read in February, and this is truly a finally I read this, God's Grave by J. Kristoff, because it took me way too long to finally read this. I loved Nevernight when I first read it. Like, I was reading the arc, and I remember pinging a friend telling her, like, within the first paragraph that I was in love with the book, that I already knew I liked the authorial voice, I liked the style, I was gonna like the subject, and I definitely love it. But for some reason, I think because I read it so early from its release, there was a big gap between when I then got to read God's Grave, that it was like I needed to be in the mood to read God's Grave. And quite frankly, after reading, like, The Rite, God's Grave was a really good palate cleanse because I like violence. No, I like God's Grave because it's a really interesting story. The setup of the different religions is fabulous. I mean, Mia Corvera isn't just, oh, I love her. My Brutal Child, I love her. And Mr. Kindly and all these other characters. And, like, at the ending, I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. I need that final book. Thanks for watching me ramble today. If you'd like to see more from me, go ahead and click that button with my face on it. It'll take you to my channel, where I ramble about a whole lot of different things. Got some thoughts of your own? Go ahead and leave them down in the comments. And make sure that if you want to see more ramblings from me, you click that little subscribe button. That's it for me today, you guys. So until next time, cheers.